Everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. So we have to talk because I have recently discovered that I am in the middle of almost 50 book series right now. Yeah, so I'm including two different types of series in that number, both book series that have an overarching plot line, as well as series that are like interconnected standalones, like most romance series are. That is excessive. Almost 50. I think I'm in the middle of exactly 49 series. I will say a few of those series, I'm not sure if I'm like permanently DNFing and just putting down, but I wanted to include them on my list just so that I could think about them at least. And so recently I binged like several vlogs that Jess made centering around this idea of finishing all of the book series that she's in the middle of. And I believe she's in the middle of over 60 series. I think she said like 90 series. She like recently made a video about all the series that she is in the middle of, and I can relate. I'm sure a lot of you can as well. I love starting series, but when it comes to continuing them, I am not the best at that. So yeah, I binged like all of the vlogs that she made where she was making her way through all of the book series that she's in the middle of. I recently started watching a vlog that Tori made on this subject. And so over the last week or so, I have just become more and more obsessed with the idea of finally finishing, if not all, most of these series that I'm in the middle of. So I thought I would document my experience with you guys and make my own series of vlogs where I make my way through all of these books and all of these series. Also, this is random, but as you can see in the background, yes, my Christmas tree is still up, but what you can't see is that it is now a Mardi Gras tree. It is now carnival season or Mardi Gras season in New Orleans, where I live and where I'm from. So my sister redecorated our Christmas tree with like a Mardi Gras garland and like a Mardi Gras colored fleur-de-lis, and I'm obsessed. So just know that I know it's not Christmas anymore. We have moved on. But first things first, I have this stack of books next to me of series that I think I'm gonna prioritize getting through first. Mainly because with most of these series, I only have like 1 or 2 books left to read, and then I can check those off of my list. But these are also just series that I'm thinking about right now. So first up, I have some historical romance series. First and foremost, we have Dreaming of You, which is book 2 in the Gamblers of Craven duet. Is that what that series is called? But this is technically part of a 2-book series, a duet. And I recently reread Then Came You, which is the first book in this duet. Loved that reread. Loved it the first time that I read it. Then Came You is truly one of my top favorite Lisa Kleypas books. And also I reread Then Came You because we have decided to extend our Wallflowers read-along, basically our Lisa Kleypas read-along, to include these 2 books. So I'll link down below all of the booktubers that are involved in that read-along, as well as the live show that we did for Then Came You. But we are going to do a live show for Dreaming of You, I believe on February 11th. And I'm sure by the time this vlog is posted, that live show will have happened already. So I will also link that live show down in the description or up in the cards above. But this is gonna be an interesting reread for me because I did not love this book the first time I read it. I know that there are a lot of people on BookTube and on Bookstagram and on BookTok that adore Derek Craven, the hero of this book. First time I read this book, I did not love him. And that is because I cannot stand heroes that are like incredibly emotionally unavailable. That is truly like a trigger for me. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I did not love this the first time I read it. So I'm curious to see what I think about it on reread. I'm hoping to love it more because I would love to be on the bandwagon with the rest of you guys, but we'll just see. Then we have The Ruin of a Rake by Cat Sebastian. This is the last book that I have to read in her Turner series, and this seems to be the fan favorite of this series. If you don't know, Cat Sebastian writes queer historical romances. This series in particular is a series of historical romances, and I've heard nothing but rave reviews about this book in particular. I did not love book 2, which was the Lawrence Brown affair. That one was a little just lackluster for me, and I did enjoy book 1 of this series, which is The Soldier's Scoundrel, but I'm really hoping that this one lives up to the hype. So yes, I only have 1 book left to read in this series, and then I have 2 books left to read in the Sins for All Seasons series by Lorraine Heath. So that is The Earl Takes a Fancy and Beauty Tempts the Beast. And I'm very excited about both of these, particularly about Beauty Tempts the Beast, because Beast is a character that has been featured throughout this series that I find incredibly endearing and adorable. He is one of those characters that he's just kind of quiet, but you can tell that he's really sweet, but he's also kind of gruff looking. So people kind of tend to stay away from him, but I'm very excited to see how his romance turns out in particular. So yes, 2 books left of this series, and then I could check that off. Then we have the Game Changer series by Rachel Reed. This series has like exploded all over the internet because there is a Canadian TV series that is based off of this whole series, but specifically Heated Rivalry, that you can watch on HBO, by the way, if you are also in the States like I am. I do not have HBO, so I have not been able to watch this show, unfortunately. So of course I've been seeing people just raving and raving and raving about this series recently, and that reminded me that I have kind of a weird journey with this series. I read Heated Rivalry and The Long Game like 3 or 4 years ago. Whenever The Long Game came out, I read both of these books like kind of back to back. And I just like never thought to read the other books of the series. And so with this series being so celebrated right now, I did read Game Changer, which is book 1, about a week or 2 ago, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it like 3.5-ish stars. That is Scott and Kip's romance. If you have watched the TV series, you would know that Scott and Kip are also featured in that show, even though the focus is mainly on Shane and Ilya. And if you know, you know, there is a really great scene at the end of their book that is featured in the TV series where Scott has Kip go on the ice with him during a hockey game, or like right after a hockey game, and they kiss in front of the whole world, and it's a huge scandal, but really awesome as well. So yeah, this is just like a really sweet and sexy romance. For me, it got a little bit boring at times, but towards the end, I feel like the pacing kind of picked back up for me and it got more interesting. So yeah, a good time, nothing amazing at the same time, but perfectly enjoyable. I will say, I do not recommend the audiobook for this book. The narrator literally has no idea how to do a Brooklyn accent, and Kip has to have a Brooklyn accent. So this narrator tried that and it did not work. So personally, I would steer you away from the audiobook. So now that I've read book 1, I want to dive into a reread of book 2, which is Heated Rivalry, of course, the iconic Heated Rivalry, where we are centering around Shane and Ilya's first book. These characters end up having 3 books centering around them, because we have Heated Rivalry, we have The Long Game, which is the 6th book in the series, and then there is a 7th book coming out later this year called Unrivaled that is also going to center around Shane and Ilya finally getting their happily ever after. So I'm a little confused about that, just because I could have sworn these characters got their happily ever after at the end of The Long Game. So I'm a little confused about that. But then I am like dying to read King of Greed by Anna Huang. Oh my God, this is book 3 of the Kings of Sin series. I read books 1 and 2 last year and absolutely devoured both of those books. And this is a marriage in trouble story that I am super, super pumped about. Marriage in Trouble is one of my favorite romance tropes ever. And I've heard that it is done very, very well in this book. So I have a feeling I'm gonna be reading this as a part of this vlog as well. And then I also have Shadow Kiss by Rochelle Mead. This is book 3 in her Vampire Academy series. I've been rereading this series recently and just having a good old time doing so. I read books 1 and 2 a couple months back. This TBR could of course change. I did want to talk about, I have started Holly by Adeline Grace. This is book 3.5 in the Belladonna series. So this is a Christmas themed novella. I'm thinking of this novella as like an extended epilogue of the entire series, basically. I did want to show you guys, this book is absolutely stunning. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. We need to look at this naked hardback. Like, stunning. This says, it's said that the holly sprig has long been used to ward off evil spirits. And there are stunning end pages. Are we joking right now? With Blythe and Aris just being beautiful people, and then we have Death and Signa also being beautiful people. And oh man, I love this series so much, you guys. This is probably one of my top favorite YA series ever, I would say. This has vibes of historical romance, gothic, creepy, I would even say like slight horror elements. There are definitely like very creepy and eerie things happening in this series. Fantastical, paranormal elements. This series kind of combines like everything I love to read in one series. And Wisteria is personally my favorite book of the series. I know a lot of people prefer Belladonna, but for me, Wisteria like blew me away in the best way possible. And I still think about that book every now and then because the romance in that is just stunning and heart-wrenching, heartbreaking at times, but just like so beautiful. So this little cozy little novella is, like I said, like an extended epilogue. We are seeing that this is Blythe, Aris, Signa, and Death's basically like very first Christmas all together after everything that has happened in the main series. And it's just a cozy little time, but also a little bit creepy at times. I also wanted to show you guys, there are illustrations throughout this that I'm absolutely obsessed with. Like, look at Blythe and Aris. And then here's another one of Signa wrapping presents, like absolutely obsessed. So I am on page 101, that is chapter 8. And it's like a 5-hour audiobook. I'm definitely gonna fly through it. Once I read this book, I will have completed the Belladonna series. I'm pretty sure this is where the series ends, I think. I don't think Adeline Grace is planning to write any more in this series. I could be wrong. But this is the final book, at least, that is currently out to read. So I will be able to check this off my list of series to read. And in terms of what I want to jump into for this vlog after Holly, I'm not really sure. I am filming 2 vlogs at the same time, my dudes. I never do that. But I'm basically reading 2 different types of books at the moment, and I wanted to document my experience reading both kinds of books. So yes, I am filming 2 vlogs at once. I don't know which one I'm gonna post first. Tonight, I'm just having a good old cozy little night in. It is very, very cold outside for the New Orleans area. It is, let me see, somewhere around like 30 degrees, I think. Yeah, 33 right now. The last couple of nights have gotten really, really cold, at least for this region, down into like the upper 20s, like 27, I think was how cold it got last night. Very unheard of for this region of the United States, to be sure. And last year around this time we had a literal snowstorm. It snowed for like 10 hours in one day, which was absolute insanity. I'll actually link a vlog that I made last year up in the cards above, where I was doing a 24-hour reading vlog and that snowstorm was happening. That was quite the time. But yeah, all of that being said, I'm gonna jump back into Holly. We're gonna finish that out and then I'll let you guys know what I end up reading next. All right, hey guys, it's been a few days since my last update. I have a couple books to update you guys about. So I read the rest of Holly by Adalyn Grace, book 3.5 in the Belladonna series. This is the final book of the series. As far as I know, Adalyn Grace is not planning on writing any more books in this series. However, there was a bonus chapter in this Barnes & Noble exclusive edition that leads me to believe that there could be more stories in this world, so I don't know. But I ended up really enjoying this. I gave it 4 stars. I think that this is a really adorable, cute, and cozy Christmas novella. Like I said, very much an extended epilogue of the entire series. I love that we are following all 4 POVs of our 4 major characters in the series. And even though this is cute and cozy, like I said, there are still some like creepy and eerie elements that I truly love about this series. It's just like the perfect dash of creepiness for sure. I don't think that this is a must read if you've read the main trilogy, but it could be a cute little Christmas read for you for this coming Christmas, you know. I started the audiobook for Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas, book 2 in her Gamblers of Craven duet. This is a reread for me. I'm gonna try my best not to include too many rereads in this vlog, just because I want to document my experience with you guys of me reading books that are new to me. But I am rereading this because we are doing a live show discussion about this book a week from today. Today is Sunday the 8th, and we're doing a live show discussion on the 15th about this book. This book is so hyped in the historical romance community, in the Lisa Kleypas fandom for sure. There is literally like a holiday in the fandom called Derek Craven Day, which is February 4th. I think that's Derek Craven's birthday, if I'm not mistaken, where people in the historical romance community will just post about how much they love Derek Craven as a character. And one of the reasons that I gave this 3.5 stars originally was I don't love Derek Craven as much as like everybody else does. And I remember like getting kind of bored throughout this as well. Like, yeah. So I'm very curious to see what I think upon reread. I'm on page like 63. And I want to say that's roughly maybe 20% of the way through, maybe a little less. I've been listening to this audiobook while driving to and from work, and then I'm reading other books for another vlog that I'm filming right now. This follows our heroine Sarah. She is an author. She has become widely acclaimed for this book Mathilde, which is a fiction novel about a woman who gets roped into prostitution and the consequences of that. And she became very widely acclaimed for this novel because it reads as very realistic, basically. And that's because Sarah really does her research when she's writing novels about people whose experiences are completely different from her own. She comes from, I guess, like a middle class family who lives in a very quaint, nice little neighborhood, and she travels to London, to like the seedy parts of London, to get basically like the real scoop on how these people really live, whether it be prostitutes or, in the case of at the beginning of the novel, she is researching gambling hells, gambling dens, because she is writing a novel. I guess maybe the main character frequently goes to gambling dens or something like that. But that's basically how she meets Derek Craven at the beginning, is that These two men are attacking him. Like, one of them straight up like slashes his face with a knife, and Sarah has a pistol with her and she shoots one of the assailants and basically saves Derek's life. And so that's how they meet, and things are going on from there. And so basically Sarah is like interviewing Derek's staff. Derek runs his own gambling den, and it's very, very successful. He's like one of the richest men in London. And so yeah, enjoying my reread so far. I really don't have much to say. All right, hey guys, I'm trying a different angle for filming for these vlogs. I don't know if I love it because as much as I love natural lighting, which is what's coming from over here, I feel like this lighting is also making me look weird. But we have little Lena right there. Lena, say hello to everyone. She is the star of my videos lately. And if you don't know, she's my sister's dog. But yeah, let's do an update. I am congested. That's why I sound like this. Sorry. I am a little more than halfway through Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas. I think the last time that I updated, I was like, I don't know, maybe 40%, maybe a little less through. Still enjoying this reread. I will tell you right now, this still isn't reading like a 5-star by any means, which is just very unusual when it comes to me and Lisa Kleypas. I am a huge fan of her books, and the vast majority of the books that I've read by her, I've given 5 stars. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this second half or so goes. I remember some things from the plot of this book. Like, I remember who the main villain of the story is. I am also currently 42% of the way through Maniac by Onley James. This is the 7th and final book in Onley James's Necessary Evils series. So that means once I finish this book, that will be another series completely finished for this vlog, which that was definitely my goal, to finish at least 2 series per these vlogs that I do. So I'm very excited for that. This is something quite a bit different, I think, from everything else I've read so far in this vlog. So this is a dark romance series that centers around Thomas Mulvaney, who is a doctor. He's a scientist. He basically has devoted a lot of time to like researching and kind of experimenting on psychopaths, basically. So over the course of the years, he has adopted 7 boys who exhibit signs of psychopathy. That's a hard word for me to say, psychopathy. In an attempt to basically use their psychopathy for good, to train them to be vigilante killers who will kill people who do horrible things. And so over the course of the series, each son has gotten his own romance. And this 7th and final book, we are actually following Thomas and Aiden, who Aiden is someone that Thomas adopted when he was like 17 turning 18, and Aiden never saw Thomas as a father figure. He very quickly developed a crush on Thomas, and we see that Thomas developed feelings in turn for Aiden, but he's been trying to keep him at arm's length all these years because he doesn't think it would be appropriate to, you know, romantically be with his adopted son. We do learn that like a few years after he adopted Aiden, Aiden reversed the adoption or like dissolved the adoption. So like they're not even really related anymore. But yeah, like there's definitely been a very like angsty, messy connection between these two over the years. And we're seeing that in present day. Aiden is now 40, and I believe Thomas, I don't think Thomas is too much older than Aiden. He might be in his late 40s into his 50s, if I'm not mistaken, because I think he was pretty young when he adopted Aiden. Like there wasn't like a huge age gap between the two of them. But now we are basically getting Thomas's full backstory. Thomas is a character that we see snippets of throughout the 6 earlier books of the series. He's definitely a character that I have really enjoyed seeing. I think he's a great father figure for these sons, these guys with psychopathy who end up finding their life partners, basically. But he's also a mysterious character. We've never been in his POV before, except for we're always in his POV for the prologue of every book. But now we're getting his POV and we're getting Aiden's POV. So I'm really enjoying this. This is a book that I've seen a lot of people say ended up being their least favorite in the series, and they ended up being pretty disappointed by this book. So I'm very interested to see why that is, because so far I'm really enjoying this. I wouldn't say it's like a top favorite of the series so far. My personal favorite books are books 1 through 4. I gave all 4 of those books 5 stars. And then books 5 and 6 I gave like, I think 4 stars if I'm not mistaken. Right now this is reading like a 4-star book, but my opinion could change. So yeah, I'm just very interested to see how this story turns out and why a lot of people ended up not loving it. So that's gonna be it for this update, and I'll talk to you guys later. Today's Valentine's Day, by the way, so happy Valentine's Day. Hello, my beautiful bookish besties. It has been well over a week since I last updated this vlog. Oopsies. Yeah, I have been really busy over the last week or so for sure. We are getting into crunch time for this production of Frozen, the musical that I am in. I am playing Olaf, if I haven't talked about that in this vlog. I did get some clips from our first orchestra rehearsal, so I inserted a few of those in this video. I didn't include any super long clips because I'm always worried about like YouTube and their copyright policies and stuff, but I think it's okay because it's not like I was inserting a like studio recording of a song. It's, you know, with live orchestra. So I think it's okay. But yeah, I have 3 books to talk about that I have finished since I last talked to you guys. I'm gonna quickly talk about Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas. I finished my reread probably like 2 weeks ago, so maybe it's been even longer than I think it has been. What's interesting about this reread is that usually when I reread something, my rating changes in some way. Unless it is a book that I gave 5 stars the first time, usually I give that same book 5 stars the second time. But with this book, I gave it 3.5 stars the first time that I read it, and upon reread, I gave it 3.5 stars again. My feelings didn't change at all when it comes to this book. I I unfortunately feel like this book is a bit overhyped. I unfortunately just don't get it. But if you love this book, I love that for you. I wish that I did love this book more. For me, this is not my favorite Lisa Kleypas romance in general. And also, I don't know, between like the 70 to like 85% mark, I found myself getting bored with the story. And then things ramped up again once something villainous and crazy happened. But yeah, it's not my favorite Lisa Kleypas book. I'm sorry. I did also finish Maniac by Onley James. What's interesting about this book, I was telling you guys in my last update about how I saw that quite a few people that love this series really don't love this book. And at the point that I had left off in my last update, which was about the 40% mark, I wasn't really understanding why, because at that point where I stopped, I was really enjoying the romance. There was a lot of angst and tension and chemistry and all the things that you want from a dark romance, a dark queer romance, right? But when I tell you, like, I read a chapter or two beyond my stopping point after I last updated you guys, and I got it. Basically what happens is, you know, with that romance, Thomas and Aiden's romance, there is this buildup of like years and years of angst between these two and these reasons that they can't be together, why it's a forbidden romance. And then within like a chapter or two, all that just like magically goes away and they just hook up and get together and start a relationship. And it's like, wait, what? Where did all that tension go? Where did all that angst go, you know? And I think this author mainly did that because then the B plot kind of had to take over the story. Usually with this series, there is the A plot of the romance, but then there's a B plot of like horrible people that the Mulvaneys are investigating and taking out, basically. And so we once again had that kind of plot in this book. And so yeah, in the second half, that plot takes over. And yeah, I just feel like there was so much buildup for this romance, and then it just fizzled out so fast. This unfortunately was not the finale to the series that I wanted. I definitely wanted more from this romance. This romance has been built up not only in this book, but also really throughout the whole series. And so yeah, like it just didn't pan out the way that I would have wanted it to pan out. So yes, 3 stars. And then I also read another book that is a part of a series that I didn't get to actually like vlog and document with you guys. That is Delicate Escape by Catherine Cowles. This is book 2 in her Sparrow Falls series. This is a small town romantic suspense series that I have been dying to continue because I absolutely loved Fragile Sanctuary, which is book 1, when I read it back in like September of last year. And so I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I didn't give it quite the 5-star rating that I gave the previous book in the series, but I did still really enjoy it. This one is about Thea and Shep. So Thea is on the run, basically. She got into a relationship some years back with a very famous movie star. He turned out to be very, very possessive of her and very like mentally abusive of her and just very controlling. And it got to a point where we learn that this guy was very tech savvy and he would like fuck with her finances, like drain money out of her accounts and like mess with the electronics in her house. And he even like posted images of her on porn sites and stuff, like absolute insane shit. And so she ends up leaving and going on the run and living off the grid in Sparrow Falls in this small town. And then we have Shep, who runs this like contracting company. And him and Thea have had some run-ins since Thea has moved there, where Thea is definitely like keeping him at arm's length. Like he's trying to flirt with her, but she is like not having it because of her past experiences. She's just keeping everyone at a distance. And so then we see the two of them start to bond. Meanwhile, it seems like this guy from Thea's past may be back and is like terrorizing her again. Just mysterious, weird, creepy things are happening to her. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I would give it 4 stars. Really liked the characters, really liked their romance, really liked the audiobook. The narrators were really great as well. This just didn't give me the same level of romance and like feelings that I got from Fragile Sanctuary, which definitely makes me a bit sad because I was really hoping, and maybe I just went into this book with too high of expectation. I was really hoping that this series was gonna be like a 5-star series and that Catherine Cowles was gonna be a new favorite author for me. But I think I just need to accept that she's a bit hit or miss for me. There are now 2 books of hers that I've given 5 stars. Most of her other books I've given 4 stars. I think 1 or 2 of her books I've given 3 stars. So I just need to accept that with her. But nevertheless, I am still looking forward to continuing on with the rest of this series at some point. And then I do want to read one more book for this vlog. I think I'm gonna jump into Heated Rivalry because I read Game Changers at the beginning of the vlog. And so I wanted to continue one last series before closing this out. So yeah, I am excited. This is gonna be a reread for me. And I'm very excited because I read this for the first time in 2022, I believe, based off of some recommendations that I got on like Bookstagram. I remember seeing people raving about this sports romance and I absolutely adored it. And now that I have the context from book 1, I feel like I might enjoy this book even more, if that's possible. All right, hey guys, it's been a few days since my last update. Today, we actually had our first of 2 school performances for Frozen. And basically what that means is that we perform at our venue, our theater, and different schools bus kids to the theater to see the show. And it was a blast. I always love performing for those kinds of audiences. I've done these school performances before with this theater company that I'm performing Frozen with, and it's so fun. And what's also cool is that the last time I did school performances for this theater, I was playing a villain. I was playing the meanie stepmother in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella. And so I remember like my life being made because when I went out for my bow, the kids booed me. And like, I just love that when playing a villain. It's so fun. But this time around, I'm playing a completely, you know, opposite character of that. I'm playing Olaf, this very beloved character. And so it was just so adorable hearing the giggles in the audience. There was like a group of, I think like 1st graders in the first few rows, and they were just giggling so much at Olaf and just having the best time. And it was just so adorable. I have this big puppet that I'm working with and it's kind of heavy. And so that does kind of take a physical toll on my body as well. But yeah, this show has been such a blast. We have a total of 4 more performances left because like I said, I have another school performance tomorrow and then we're going into another weekend of shows Friday through Sunday. I am so excited. So let's jump into an update. I am just about halfway through my reread of Heated Rivalry. I am on page 168. That is chapter 14. And I am loving this reread. So happy to be rereading this book because I definitely forgot so much about this story from when I read it like 4 years ago. It's just so good. And what's so interesting is that Game Changer, which is the book that precedes this one, the first book of the series, that book is so like just okay compared to this. Like, Rachel Reed really had some secret sauce when she was writing this romance. There's something about Ilya and Shane's dynamic together that is just so addictive to read about. And what's also interesting is that this is not my absolute favorite kind of romance to read. in that I don't absolutely love romances that start out as the two main characters just hooking up and the relationship only being a physical relationship. It's just not my favorite thing to read, but there is something about, like, these characters are addictive to read about, and seeing how their relationship slowly changes over the years, because this starts in 2008. Yeah, 2008 is when these characters meet. And now I'm in 2016. So it's already been 8 years since the beginning of this book. I forgot how long their romance spans, because there's this book, there's The Long Game, which happens, I guess, a few years down the road from this book. And then Shane and Ilya are getting their third book that is releasing, I believe, next year. So we definitely get their whole story over years and years and how their relationship changes. And it's just so good. I love seeing these little changes between the two of them, and we're seeing that they're starting to have very real feelings for each other. Absolutely, absolutely loving this. Cannot wait to finish this reread. So I'm gonna do one last update for this vlog, so I'll talk to you guys later. Hello, hello. We are here for the final update for this vlog. I'm tired. I need to go to bed very soon, but I wanted to give a final update on Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. I am in the middle of our final weekend of performances of Frozen, and it has truly just been an absolute blast. So tomorrow is our closing performance. I'm not ready. I'm probably going to cry my little eyes out. And speaking of crying my little eyes out, let's talk about Heated Rivalry. So I read, I think, like the last 30% of this last night. And I'm sure I did this the first time that I read this book as well, but I cried multiple times in the last like 30% or so. There is just something about this romance, something about these two characters that, like, I was like tearing up and crying when they realized that they loved each other, when they confessed those feelings to each other. Like, every emotional moment between these two made me cry like a little baby. Not quite sobbing crying, but crying for sure. And like, this is the reason why I read romance and why I love romance so much, is, you know, finding those couples that I just get so emotionally invested in. Yeah, I just love when romances make me cry for good reasons, not for devastating reasons. You know, I certainly want happily ever afters in my romances. You know, this is a romance series, so I know that Shane and Ilya eventually get their happily ever after. At the end of this book, we don't get their happily ever after. However, I love how this book ends. I love where we stop with their story, with their romance. And I'm just so excited to read The Long Game sometime, hopefully soon. Like I said, I am gonna be reading this series in order going forward, so the next book is not about my babies, unfortunately. But yeah, oh my God, this is just so good. Just like an epic forbidden romance. That's what I'm here for. So if you have recommendations for romances that give you the same vibes as Heated Rivalry, I don't necessarily need the enemies to lovers vibe, but just like the epicness of the romance, maybe some forbiddenness, things like that, please leave them in the comments below, because this is just top tier, truly. So that's gonna be it for this vlog. I've been filming this vlog for over a month. Yeah, or maybe about a month at this point. I'm filming another vlog right now, and I've definitely been filming that vlog for well over a month. This one maybe, I don't know, maybe about the same amount of time. So if you made it this far in the video, please leave me a comment with the hockey puck emoji in honor of Heated Rivalry. Thank you guys so much, so much for watching. I would love it if you would leave a comment down below. If you want to leave a like, subscribe. If you want to hype this video, that is a new feature here on YouTube. There should be some instructions on how to do that down below. I would love that. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.